Okay, hello guys and welcome back to the channel. And for today's video I want to look at Nato straps. It's about time I got around to finally getting the chance to making this video, which I have been wanting to for a while. So what we have here is three straps here, including a fourth one on the watch from Wrist Candy Watch Club. I thought I had their card, but I don't have it to show, but I'll put a link in the video. And for the rest of the straps here, I have straps from the Sydney Strap Company, a company which I found online, an Australian company, of course, which I've really found that I've enjoyed quite a bit. And what I have here are the 20mm straps, followed by the 22mm size over here. Now, a little bit of history about Nato straps. Why are they called Nato? It's after the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, of course, an organization that was founded in the late 1949s, politically motivated, related to North American and Western European resistance against the Soviet forces from the East and Eastern Europe, Russia. I won't go into that in detail, but they are called NATO because he needed at the time a NATO designation or consignment number to get the official straps, which were offered or consigned by the British Ministry of Defence, and that's why they've earned the name NATO straps, or G10 straps, which was the title of the form that I think you needed to fill in. So technically speaking, what we buy almost always will be NATO style straps rather than official NATO straps, which would be the ones actually consigned officially within the Ministry of Defence. Now, the original specification, I'll just take an example here, required a pattern like this, and that is you have the buckle on one end, two keepers or loops on the buckle end, and a further loop on the other side of where the watch face would slip, and two loops of nylon under the watch face, one of which will pass through the spring bars, and that gives you the spring bar failure protection. That is, if the watch, if one of the bars were to fail, then the watch body, the actual case, would still be held onto your wrist by the other spring bar, because it would still be attached through that nylon loop. And that's where it gives that spring bar protection feature. What's the difference between Nato and Zulu? Well, Zulu is actually a Meritech trademark, and Zulu straps tend to be thicker, of thicker material. They can be nylon or other materials, but they don't tend to have that far loop because they tend to be a single surface of material, not two under the case, but just one layer of material under the case, but thicker material. And Zulu straps also tend to have a rounded keeper, style, rather than the the rectangular style that should be accompanying official NATO patterns. So this style of strap here on the left actually breaks the traditional rule of what a NATO straps should be, because these have rounded keepers or loops. Okay, so I guess one point to make about the straps is that they come mainly in even numbered millimeters. Now, these are 20 and 22. Those are most of the watches I have. You can get, I think, 18 for smaller watches and 24 for very large watches. But it's very hard to get proper odd numbered millimeters. So 21, 19, very difficult to find. You can find them, but they are much rarer. So keep in mind, if it's very important to you to be able to fit NATOs to your watches, you want to make sure your watch lugs are, have an even number, 20, 22, etc. There are some watches, and some I have, that have 19 or 21 millimeters, for example. Okay, in terms of fitting, very easy. So basically you can see there's one loop of nylon that goes under the spring bars and one loop that goes free. So to take it out, all you have to do is remove through that strap there, and I'll show you how, why people, why I love NATOs is that you can very, very quickly change the character of the watch. And you can see here you have a very casual, bright red color that matches that red bezel, and very quickly if you remove it just like that, and let's say I grab this more formal looking black one, and just quickly without a rush I'll thread this through the spring bar and through the other spring bar, as you should do, and then bring it through the loop, and there we have it. It is fitted on the watch as it should be, and there, and I'll just rest it on the wrist here, and you can see how very quickly, in less than a minute really, you can change the entire character of a watch. And just to note that there's 2 loops of nylon, as you can see, fitted under the watch there. Now, if you have a very thick watch, it may be an issue, but if your watch isn't too thick, well, it suits, it will sit still fairly comfortably, remembering that if you have your original bracelet, you will have nothing between the case back and your wrists. So this, keep in mind, will add some height. So if you have a thicker watch, that may be a consideration that you need to take into account. Okay, so what are the advantages of NATO straps? Well, we've mentioned the spring bar failure. That's what it protects against. But these days, I'm not in the military. Most people watching this channel probably aren't in the military, so it's going to be a fashion accessory really. And the great thing is that you can so very quickly, as I've just shown, change the look and feel of your watch. You can get this in leather material now, different styles and colors, so many different choices, and you can change that watch feel in almost just a click of your fingers. What's the disadvantages? Well, I've mentioned one, added height, which may be important. If you have thick watches, you do need good spring bars. If I can demonstrate this now, I'll take this off, and if you can see this, the original spring bars that come with the Invicta, and many spring bars that may come with watch straps that you buy. This is a better quality spring bar that came with one of my better straps. You can see it's just that much more robust. This one doesn't tend to slip out, whereas some of these ones, you can see there's a bit of play there on the movement of the bar. If I've been rigorous with this particularly, say if I had to move my arms very quickly, that has induced spring bar failure, and that can be annoying if you lose that piece. Of course, it's easy to get generic replacements, but your original replacement may be difficult to get. So that's just something to take in mind. If you don't have good quality bars, you can easily induce spring bar failure by your activity. And lastly, the straps, mostly are nylon, and they can hold water briefly. If you come out of the pool or shower, it will be wet, and if you touch a sensitive material, paper for example, you will transfer some water onto other surfaces which you may not want to. So just keep that in mind. They are nylon, and this material dries quickly, but for the first few minutes, that's just something that can be, something you need to be careful with. Okay, so just a quick mention about the brands. This is from Wrist Candy Watch Club. It does have the rounded loops here, but I just want to make a comparison. So this one's from the Sydney Watch Company. You can see that this is 29 centimeters and this is 25 centimeters. And there's a good historical reason why they're that long. My wrist is 17 centimeters, fairly small to average. And you're getting a lot of leftover material which you have to loop around and manage, whereas it's a lot easier with that much less material. So I've enjoyed this a bit more. The historical reason for this was, of course, you can fit that onto outer garments, wetsuits, etc. but realistically, I'm probably rarely going to be actually doing that. So just keep that in mind in terms of what watch companies you shop under. Both of these are good. You know, they have 316L stainless steel. They have welded holes, which, you know, hold together well. The ends are well finished, you know, smooth, you know, no fraying when they arrive, at least, which is an important thing. And they're all held together by stitching. If I take, so the loops, for example, you can see they're stitching there. And same as the Sydney company, the loops are held together by, I'll just show you, you know, stitched in, not just glued in. So those are things to look out for. This company was, you know, had specials on, and I got each strap for around $8 Australian, and which is an absolute bargain. Whereas the one from the US, the Wrist Candy Watch Club, I ended up paying about $15 each, which after conversion is about, you know, 20 Australian. So, you know, I think economically this, you know, worked out to be able to get a lot more straps from the Sydney company. And the other thing I'll just note is that, so for example, this piece here, if I can get this to just focus in close, you can see there on the hardware, it actually does have, not sure if that's coming through, but it does say, you know, Sydney Strap Company, which is a nice little touch, you know, that they have that printed on the hardware there, whereas, you know, this one's a bit too thin to print anything. So there we have it. There's a quick look of on Nato straps. So, you know, there are a lot more videos from more knowledgeable people who go into more detail, but that's just, you know, my very quick take on a very, I guess, an accessory that has become very popular in recent years. So hope that's been enjoyable and informative. Give us a like and a subscribe if you enjoy my videos and want to keep up. Thank you again for watching, and I will catch you guys next time.